Good morning. Today's class is about eccentrically loaded welded joints. An eccentric load may be imposed on welded joints in many ways. The stresses induced on the joint may be of different nature or of the same nature. Here in this particular figure, we can see a welded joint which is eccentrically loaded. Here this is a portion which is welded to this particular metal part by a fillet welding. Here we can see a double parallel fillet welding. One fillet welding at this particular side and another one at this particular side. Here this weld length is equal to small letter L, and this is the leg of the weld, and T is the throat thickness of the weld. Here P is acting as at this particular point, which is at a distance of E from this particular edge. Here, when the shear stress and bending stresses are simultaneously present in a joint, then we know that the maximum normal stress we can find out using this particular equation. Sigma T, maximum normal stress sigma T, is equal to sigma B by 2 plus half into root of sigma B square plus 4 tau square, where tau is the shear stress and sigma B is the bending stress. And maximum shear stress is equal to tau max, that is equal to half into root of sigma B square plus 4 tau square. Sigma B is the bending stress and tau is the shear stress. And this is the first case. Consider a T joint which is fixed at one end and subjected to an eccentric load P at a distance E as shown in figure. Here S is the size of the weld or leg of the weld, and L is the length of the weld. This particular length, and this is the length of the weld, and T is the throat thickness. The joint will be subjected to following two types of stresses. First one, direct shear stress due to the shear force P acting at the weld. And second one, bending stress due to the bending moment P into E. Here, due to this particular force, we can say that here this particular weld is acted upon by a direct shear stress, and simultaneously a bending stress acting at this particular weld due to the bending moment P into E. This force into perpendicular distance P into E. Then we know that A is equal to throat thickness into length of the weld, T into L into 2. 2 means 2 represent for double fillet weld. That's equal to 2 into T into L. Then 2 into 0.707 S into L is equal to 1.414 S into L. Here we can see that this particular T joint is welded by two parallel fillet weld, double parallel fillet weld. These two metal parts are connected by double parallel fillet weld. Okay, here shear stress in the weld, assuming uniformly distributed. Here we can assume one particular condition is that the shear stress is equally or uniformly distributed throughout the weld. Then that tau is equal to direct shear stress. Tau is equal to P by A. P by the welding P by weld area, that's equal to P by 1.414 S into L. We already calculated this weld area as 1.414 S into L because it is a double fillet weld. Then section modulus of the welding material, we can get this particular equation from KM data book page number 96. Here that section modulus is equal to TL square by 6, and for 2 weld we can multiply that section modulus by 2 for both sides of the weld. Then that will become SL square divided by 4.242, and this is the section modulus. Then bending moment is equal to P into E, and that bending stress is equal to bending moment divided by section modulus. Bending stress is equal to bending moment divided by section modulus. Then that P into E into 4.242 divided by SL square. We can say that M is equal to P into E and Z is equal to SL square by 4.242. By substituting that value of section modulus here, we can find out sigma B as 4.242 P into E divided by SL square. This is the bending stress. Then we know that the maximum normal stress is equal to sigma T max is equal to this particular equation, and maximum shear stress is equal to this particular equation. Then we can substitute these values sigma B and this tau, these two values in this equations. We can easily calculate the maximum normal stress and maximum shear stress. This is the case 1. Then in case 2, when a welded joint is loaded eccentrically as shown in figure, here that welded joint is like this, or this particular force is perpendicular to the length of the weld, Here the following two types of stresses are induced. Both stresses are shear stresses. One direct or primary shear stress, and another one shear stress due to turning moment. We know that this shear stress due to turning moment is acting at this particular welded portion. Then direct or primary shear stress acting at this particular welded portion. Let P is the eccentric load and E is the eccentricity. P is the eccentric. This is P, and that P is the eccentric load, and this E is the eccentricity. And L is the length of the weld. This part L is the length of the weld, and Z length of the weld, and S is equal to leg of the weld or size of the weld, and T is the throat thickness. Let two loads P1 and P2 each equal to P. Let two loads P1 and P2 are introduced at the center of gravity of the welding system. First we will find out the center of gravity of this particular welded portion, welded section. After that we can assume that two loads P1 and P2 are acting at this particular center of gravity. The effect of load P1 is equal to P is to produce directed shear stress, which is assumed to be uniform over the entire weld length. Then the effect of load P2 is equal to P is produced a turning moment of magnitude P into E. Both are different conditions. First one, P is to produce direct shear stress, which is assumed to be uniform over the entire weld length. And in the second case, P2 is equal to P is to produce a turning moment of magnitude P into E, which tends to rotate the joint about the center of gravity. That is the condition. Then we know that the direct or primary shear stress is equal to shear stress tau 1 is equal to load by throat area, that's equal to P by A, that's equal to P by 2 into T into L. 2 is for double fillet weld 2. Then P by 2 into 0.707 S into L, that's equal to P by 1.414 S into L. Throat area for single fillet weld is equal to T into L, 0.707 S into L. Since the stress produced due to the turning moment T is equal to P into E at any section is proportional to the radial distance from G. Here we can say that this shear stress produced due to turning moment. Shear stress produced due to turning moment is equal to this one, tau 2. That tau 2 at any particular point, that tau 2 is directly proportional to the radial distance. If that tau 2 is at this particular point, then that tau must be directly proportional to this radial distance from the center of gravity. If that secondary shear stress is acting at this particular point, then that tau 2 is directly proportional to this radial distance R2. That is the assumption, that is the condition. Then tau 2 by R2, tau 2 by R2 must be equal to tau by R. Tau is this one, shear stress acting at this particular distance R. Tau by R, then that must be equal to a constant, or tau is equal to tau 2 by R2 into R. This is the condition. Tau is equal to tau 2 by R2 into R. Then where tau 2 is the shear stress at maximum distance R2. This is the maximum distance point from the center of gravity. And tau is the shear stress. At any distance R. At any distance R. Then consider a small section of weld having area dA. When we consider the small section of welding area dA, then shear force at that particular point, shear force is equal to tau, shear stress into dA, and turning moment of this shear force, and the turning moment, small turning moment, is equal to tau into dA into R. That tau shear stress into that small area dA into R. That is the turning moment. And we can substitute tau s. Tau is equal to, we already calculated that value. Tau is equal to tau 2 by R2 into R. We can substitute tau as tau 2 by R2 into R. Then we will get this dt as tau 2 by R2 into dA into R square. Tau 2 by R2 into dA into R square. Then total turning moment is equal to integral of this particular dt. Then that T is equal to P into E. That total turning moment is equal to P into E. E is the perpendicular distance between the line of action of P and this center of gravity. That's equal to integral tau 2 by R2 into dA into R square. That's equal to tau 2 by R2 into integral of dA into R square. This integral of dA into R square is the polar moment of inertia about an axis which is perpendicular to this plane. If that axis is passing through the center of gravity and perpendicular to this particular plane, then this the perpendicular distance between that force and this particular axis which is passing through G and perpendicular to this plane is equal to R. We can say that is R. Then integral dA into R square is equal to polar moment of area of this particular small force. Then tau 2 by R2 into J. Tau 2 by R2 into J is equal to this total torque. And finally, tau 2 is equal to T into R2 by J or P into E into R2 by J. This is the secondary shear stress. We already calculated the primary shear stress as P by 1.414 S into L. Then we can calculate the resultant shear stress as tau A, resultant shear stress at A, at the maximum point A, is equal to root of tau 1 square plus tau 2 square plus 2 tau 1 tau 2 into cos theta, where theta is the angle between tau 1 and tau 2. Here tau 1 is in this particular direction, that direction must be perpendicular to this R2. The tau 1 is vertically downward or in the direction of P. Direct shear stress is always in the direction of line of action of the applied force, external force P1. Then theta is equal to this one. If the angle between R2 and tau 2 is equal to 90 degree, this angle is equal to 90 minus theta. That means this small angle is equal to theta. Then cos theta, from this right angle triangle, cos theta is equal to R1 by R2, where R1 is the distance between R1 is the distance between the point A and G along the x-axis, along horizontal direction, along the x-axis which is passing through G. That means this is the distance R1. Distance between G and A along x-axis which is passing through G. That is that distance R1. Then cos theta is equal to R1 by R2. Then by using this particular resultant shear stress, we can easily calculate other dimensions, throat area or S, whichever whatever is unknown. Okay, that is the final answer. Thank you all.